Hey everyone, Corrie here coming in to do the weekly energy forecast or the weekend. I guess we're heading into the weekend. This is February. We have a February message. I wonder what that is. So this is June the 24th, 2022. Let's see if we can stay in the right timeline. I was trying to do a live last night and all of these time shifts, like it was like shutters, and I was trying to stay present and I couldn't, and I was seeing so many things happening and so much going on, and I could see all this world stuff, and I'm like, just stay here, and I could barely get out the information that I wanted to just talk about. Couldn't think of anything. It was just so much was happening. Well, the same thing is happening today, and it just feels like almost like um the energy feels like the life is kind of feeling like it's sucked out, but not. It's a weird feeling. So there's a lot of energy that's happening. There's a lot of things that are taking place. There is a lot of sense of rise in the anger energy. I feel the sense of darkness again, and stepping into a time of darkness and some darker energy or some anger energy or some, even though the planets are in a line to all of these planets aligning to, this curve energy that kind of takes us on a curve, like gets us moving and shifting out of an old energy. But for some reason, the narrative of what should be happening universally in the consciousness, the greater consciousness, and the alignment of the planets, and then what is happening because of humans' free will choices is we're not matching. Something is not matching. We are like two worlds, two parallel worlds. I'm seeing pyramids, and so this is not a weekend channel message like all lovey-dovey. This is like the energy that I am picking up and reading through, this energy that is existing around. So this is a bit of prophecy. This is a bit of prediction work. This is a little bit of everything all blended. So if you wonder what's going on, what's happening in my love life? Well, that's just not happening right now. Or a bit of a break here in your video when you're rewatching this. I had to take a break for a moment. Something came up. So I'm trying to channel back in and get back in. But it was this like two worlds. So it's like I just keep seeing, it's like I'm constantly all day yesterday, shifting in these parallel worlds, like seeing this parallel energy and very much underground. Like I just see like this moving and shifting. And so I just feel like there's this, not feel like I know what I know, what I know to be coming through the energy is that we have this consciousness that says, this is how things should be. We should be in this happier, upbeat, more kind of joyful energy that should be swaying us in that direction. But something is on the horizon, something in the human free will or the rises of the forces that are not of love and light and not from a good place or a good intention, tend to have kind of taken hold in a rise of angers, frustrations, those kind of energies. And I feel like we're really going to see an impact on us with that energy, maybe not you personally, but within the world, like really seeing it. But it feels like in the midst of all of that, something is arising that will stop everybody in their tracks. And everyone will have to stop and look at the actions and reactions in our own personal behavior. And so there is a change that's happening. And I was just doing my light measurement from a dear friend of mine who created this light measurement chart, who's who works with actually working with life force energy, and her name's Althea Gray, and she's also a healer, and her work with light is amazing. And I have not been feeling like well for days, like not in a good place and not in in my personal world. Like I just feel like I'm kind of low and I'm having to do a lot of things to keep a lot of rest, a lot of going back and laying down, a lot of naps, a lot of things to really truly bring my light back in, like really charge up my energy to bring that in. And so I was reading my light measurement and it was actually very low. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, but it's not really mine. It's like, I just feel like there's such an absorption in getting prepared to channel that there's so many energies that are in the negative realm. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with a open mind and an open heart, and really truly going beyond the word demonic. And so I want to go beyond the word, but there is like this demonic, darker energy that is deep rooted. And I just feel like it's been deep rooted for like the beginning of humanity. And it has an objective. And that objective is to truly kind of get us to turn against each other in different ways. So it's like when you feel yourself, getting in so over invested and over involved in making enemies with people you don't need to make enemies with, I feel like you need to stop, pause, and really think about this. Really think about that. And it is very much in this energy that I'm feeling. And it's not a place where I go. I work in love and light. I mean, I am a light worker, and I know myself, and I can tell you I have had, several attacks in the past few years, and I know when they are trying to get in. I know when it's happening. And it's usually just comes from a place of somebody's dislike of you, somebody's hate of you. Like they build up a story and a narrative of hate, and so people's intentions are not always good. And so if your intentions are not good, if you're finding yourself being very judgmental right now, we are just telling you that it is a very good time to check in with yourself. Check in, because we have the energy of this beautiful force that is going to take over anyway. Love and light is going to win, whether you want it to or not. But love and light is going to win. Right choice, right rewards, like right outcomes will happen. And it just feels like it's like, but that's not what we're seeing, because we're not looking up, we're looking down. We're looking into what is happening here. We're getting so caught up in things that we're not looking up. We are losing that sense of faith and hope, and putting faith in the wrong things. And so that sense of faith is going to kind of restore itself. But in the meantime, is to really take ownership and responsibility for our own lives, which is more than existing. It is that sense of knowing, yes, we want to be seen for doing the right things for the right reason. We want to be seen in light, and we want to be seen as love. And we want to be recognized as, when we look at each other, that we recognize each other for the good, and not that we have the same negative, complaining, frustrated energy. It's like, it's that magnetic field, that magnetic attraction. You are what you think, you are what you eat, right? Like those statements are actually very, very true. And if you are in a tendency to want to be very angry at the world, or want to be very judgmental, and all people are like this, and all this is happening for this reason, the world is against me, then you will create a world that is against you. And you will create a world where you will convince yourself that everybody's your enemy. And if you got one childhood hurt or injury, one childhood traumatic moment, and it happened by a male or a female, you can turn every single male or female into your enemy. And you will find a reason to be able to say to yourself, see, I told you they're like that. I told you that's the way it was. And that is the self-prophecy to be able to return into those previous experiences. Pay attention. Pay attention to them more now than ever. It is so important. It is something that is really, truly being brought forth, because on the flip side of that, if we flip it over, it's like the records, right? If we flip it over, then on the other side, there's like an A and a B side. Maybe you need to go to the B side, right? Or maybe you've been listening to the A side because it's popular and it's what's in style and it's what everyone else is doing. And if you're doing what everyone else is doing, and you're jumping on those, and you get on those bandwagons, maybe it's time to jump ship. And maybe side B is the side that, you may have liked best, the artist may have liked best, but they had to go with what somebody else said because of peer pressure, because of afraid of standing out, or afraid of being attacked for having a difference of opinions. I am in that boat in so many ways in my life, in my opinions, how I see things, because I don't see things through the subconscious. I don't see things through the narrative of what we have been forced and taught to believe. I see things beyond. And so with the ability to see beyond, I'm like, not it. Most of what you think is to be true is not really as it appears to be. And there's so much more to the narratives and the stories. And we're being told to really look deep before we jump in and we want to get into that fight. We want to join the fight, get into the arguments. We need to increase the love and light in this world, and we are not going to do it if even our light workers start jumping on the bandwagon to become the angry projection, because it is not an anger of love. It is an anger of narrative, because you are still feeding from the subconscious. And when it is the subconscious, when we're inspired to be that of the highest good, it is not an anger that comes at an attack, or that we go after people, or that we want to destroy other people. It is not that way. That's not how love anger projects itself. It has a powerful force to be able to be a change without having to pick up a sharp weapon of a tongue, and be that voice, and with a conviction that has a divine presence, an angelic, one that comes from that higher consciousness, a super consciousness, that has almost like that loud trumpet of a voice that just says, stop. Is what we're doing actually serving the highest good? And we are to be very, very aware of that right now. And I know many are like, where's all of her monthly zodiacs? I want to know what's going to happen here. I want to go to what's happening there. Well, what is happening in this global, what is happening out there, what is happening in this energy has an effect on everything that is happening in the little things in your life. It has an effect of what's happening all the way around. So knowing energy, knowing that there is something more that's happening, opening our minds and our hearts and our ability to see beyond, really truly allows us to be the change that we need to be, and not to be the narrative of the same way that we have been trying to fight things or trying to change things since the beginning of time. And because we are, we're so stuck in the one way of humanity, so stuck by being so stuck in that subconscious is wrong. There's a lot of good knowledge in there. But when we are fed the narratives and the objectives and the one-sided view of things, that's the only thing that we know to be true. And when you find out something about it that's different, or you have a personal experience and then that becomes false and not true no more, now it's a lie. So everything has the possibility to not be true. Everything has the possibility to have a new truth. Everything has that possibility. So if everything has that possibility to have a different narrative, a different story, and another side, then why wouldn't we want to explore it? And we don't want to explore it because we are so dead set on wanting to stay connected to that human lower vibrating energy, because it keeps us planted in the narrative of keep pushing everything else and the objectives and the views and the industries that are thriving from that. And so being aware of that everywhere, and be aware of it, how it's serving your previous, how it's your child heart, that inner child, how it's serving that inner child's narrative story to be angry, to be a narcissist, how it's serving that objective that it's all about me and it's time for someone to pay attention to me, or any of those areas of life where it has been absorbed into that sense of self. And that's what's coming up. So we have a lot of that's playing out and that's coming up. And I know like, but that's there. On the flip side of that, we do have love. On the flip side of that, we do have the beautiful angelic realm, and we do have Brachial. And Archangel Brachial has been so present, and Archangel Brachial comes with blessings. I would say Archangel Brachial reminds me, and I know I may not say it as other people say it, but that's how he gives me to say it. Archangel Brachial reminds me of that one friend that you have who's a grown-up, but has the courage to be the flower person at a wedding. That's what Archangel Brachial is like. Just got no problem in its self-identifying, in identifying itself as bliss. And no matter what's happening, could be the audience, the people watching could be rolling their eyes and judging, and Archangel Brachial just comes in with, whatever, I'm being my person, and I was invited and I was asked to do this role, and because this is my role, I do this to the best of my ability. I am here to do this, and I'm here to bring the blessing of bliss and joy into your life. I'm here. And so I just see that presence. When I see Archangel Brachial, I also see the most amazing features and image of Lady Diana. So Lady Diana was a lady of class, right? She was class. She represented that sense of class, that knowing, also knowing that she had to make some tough choices and some tough decisions. And that even though her life ended tragically, this is how she tells me, is that she lived a very blessed life. Life is the extension of the time that the soul is here to complete whatever its mission is. And her passing was to be a change, was to be one of those shifts that was to take place to get us to wake up, to pay attention, and not just to pay attention to what's happening in royal, but what's happening when we glorify someone so much that we become obsessed with them, that we chase them down. So those people who were chasing her were truly trying to get the pictures to make the money, because we have an obsession and people wanted to know what she was doing. Why is it any of our business what she was doing? Right? Like, why was that obsession to have a picture to put on a magazine? Why do we glorify people that way? And so she comes and just says, I was just a person who made choices and who ultimately did somehow in the beginning sell a piece of herself to exist in that world, knowing that she was not going to be happy, even though she wanted to be. I don't know the whole gist of that, but that's what she tells me. And so that energy, and just like, but her dignity, her sense of integrity, her class that she represented, that I don't know her personally. I didn't know her personally, but it was in her aura, it was in her energy. And I remember the day that it was announced that she passed. I remember watching her service and that beautiful song of, Candle in the Wind. And we all have a light that will go out on earth, but it extends on forever, right? It extends on in that eternity. And so, but while we are here, what are we going to light up? Are we going to light up the fear stories, the angry stories? Are we going to light up the worst parts of our human self? If we're here to bring life and to bring light into the world, then what are we doing? And where and how are we doing that? And are we really looking at it from a place of absolute love within our hearts? So there's a lot to really explore here. And she's bringing forth that class, that dignity. And I just keep seeing her nose. And it was her nose that was actually, when I seen her nose, it actually made me be really comfortable with my own nose. I was just like, when I seen her and I seen her beauty and that she had a very unique nose, I actually became comfortable in my own nose because of Lady Diana. And so I do feel like she's back. She is still of service to the people. She is still of service to the people. She's still present. She's still here. She's still doing what she does in spirit. So many of them are. Brachial is here with the blessings, the love, that sense of knowing that we have this beautiful self, but we're bringing forth the weeds. We're letting the weeds choke out our beautiful gardens. And we have to stop letting those weeds really choke out our beautiful gardens. It is a time for change. It is a time for awareness. It is a time that maybe the things that we fight the hardest for, there may be some sort of balance that can be created from that place and knowing that place. And I know my personal journey to more than existing, and where my years of depression had come in, and where and how I ended up spending a lot of time in my life not being very kind to myself. And if I had been giving new information, if I had been giving all sides of things, I may have made different choices and decisions. But I didn't. So, and I don't get to judge for somebody else, but the fact that I didn't, and the fact that all of that still led me to be right where I am today, to be the person that I am today, really, truly is that either which way, wrong choice, right choice, there's always going to be an opportunity to make another choice. And when we make the other choice, do we want to continue to go into the places that cause us misery? Or do we make the choice to turn towards the light and turn towards that joy and that bliss, which is what Brachial is also bringing forth for us. So, and I will be recording a whole download of, I will channel into Brachial even bigger, and I'm going to record it. And it's going to be in More Than Existing Academy, the MTE Academy. And I do have a whole conversation relationship that I do share in the Academy about my journey with the Guardians, that you can also check out. So we do have a lot of that energy. And these are things that, that our scope of awareness is where we need to put our attention. Now, we also have on the other side of this, I always come in with weather stuff, weather patterns. We have been through so many thunderstorms and rains and rainfall warnings where I live here in Alberta. And it's just been like constant. And I'm like, okay, enough is enough now. This is enough. We've had enough rain. But I'm like, but this is minor compared to these weather patterns that I am seeing. And I'm seeing these massive weather patterns, but for some reason, I keep seeing the weather patterns, but I keep seeing disturbances underneath the ground. But I am seeing these weather patterns that feel like, it hits an area where it's like, oh, that would never happen to us. We're going to be safe. Like it happened once, it's not going to happen again. Yeah, no. It's, you never know. Mother Earth in her fury and in all that she has to do does have a lot to teach us. But it does feel like it's like, so we played in that narrative of, if it's very dry, then we got this issue, and if it's very raining, then we got this issue. But it's like, that's Mother Earth restoring herself. So we're stepping into a time of restoration. So this is a rest and enjoy. We just came through summer solstice. Through these summer months, it should be about fun, family, communication, joy, happiness, existing in all of those fun things, soaking up the sun, taking in. And if you're on the other side of the world and you're in winter, then it's about finding, and it may be about going inward deeper and doing the inward journey. But this rest and spending time enjoying happiness is also an inward journey, whether you know it or not, because what you're doing is that you are charging up those good emotions. Like you're bringing those forth, you're working from that place, you're existing from that place, and then to hold on to those emotions and let them carry you through instead of losing them because seasons are going to change. And so that's where we should be. That's where we should be. And that's where we should be putting our focus, is to bring that into our own scope and into our own narrative, into our own energy. And then, of course, we can be the Debbie Downer of that, right? And so I'm like, there is that sense of, it feels like some of these weather patterns does come in either a scorching heat, or it's coming the extremes that, you expected a summer and you're not getting a summer. I'm like, but it just feels like there is an extreme weather pattern that has a massive effect. And it's kind of a little bit of an awareness of how fragile life is. And I don't know when, and maybe that's the February. When I came in, I said February. I was talking as if it's February. It could be, it could be now. As the February hasn't come back up until it just came into my vision right now. And I just brought it back in. And so it could be in February that I'm seeing this, but that's a bit of a prediction. Hopefully it all fades away, and hopefully it doesn't happen, and hopefully it doesn't stay with us. Let's see what else we have. I'm going to go to my Everyday Goddess Oracles. Forever Golden, Davina. And so Davina is coming in representing that gold to me. So we do have a lot of, there's a lot of the gold, the silvers, like a lot of those, a lot of those colors that I keep seeing. And I know that's tied to the angels, that's angelic, and it's very connected to the angelic realm and the frequencies and the mandalas. Like there's so much that is happening. And what I feel like I'm existing, I'm like, I don't want to talk about this. And it is that sense of, that mandala effect. And I'm like, it just feels like time parallel shifts, like there's something that keeps shifting and moving. And so with that, it's like it just keeps slipping in to a new version of self and then come back, slip it into a new version of self and come back. Davina is, she knows what is sacred. And it is about knowing that we have to really honor the sacred within us. And we have to care for that sacred within us. And we have to treat ourselves and others as if, there is something sacred inside of us all, so that we can see and meet each other with dignity, and that sense of knowing that we are all worth that dignity, and that there is a lot of wisdom that we don't know. And because we are running off of a lot of the old information, and we're running off a lot of opinions turned into knowledge, and human knowledge has no comparison to the higher consciousness that comes without an objective. And so when we really look at someone's knowledge, the written knowledge, someone's opinion, is that we also have to really look at their objective. What is their objective? What always was the objective? And what truth is still to the objective? And what was the reason why it became so big? And so we have the wisdom of the elder, which is Nilgimi. And before I get jumped on for creating a card that has the indigenous, I just want to remind people that I am Megama. And so this card is created because of my ancestors, because of where I come from. And I'm not this big one. And this is what the card reminds us. The wisdom of the Nugimi, which is actually a card, and it's not on these cards, but it's on the other ones. These are still beta testing. This is not an elder. This is not a crone energy card. This is actually in the mother cards. It's in the knowing that there's always, we're not here to master the master. There's always something, there's always more to learn. There's always a greater than us. And we can be jealous or envious. We can look into other women, other people, other men, whoever it is, however you identify, and be jealous because they may be achieving and you're not. You may be looking at other people and you want to see yourself as all knowing, like I got it all figured out. I don't need to know anything else. But our actions and our repeats show us that no, we don't have it all figured out. Because if we had it all figured out, we'd have a correct course, we'd have clarity, and we wouldn't be in repeat. So because we have so many things that are in repeat, we obviously are missing something. And so there's something more to get. There's something more that is happening. And so this is the essence of our truth. And this is the essence of the light that is greater than us. So, we can believe into the story that we all have a God within us, but there's always something that is greater than us. So that's that sense of the super consciousness, and there's something greater, and there's greater wisdom, there's greater knowledge. And it comes into that statement, taking the high road. Sometimes that sense of taking the high road is that knowing that there is a greater force and energy, and we can do greater things from the greater force and energy than us trying to play God or trying to be greater than, or trying to be so right and so caught in our convictions that we can't figure it out. So, and this also comes into a 12 and a 29, just for number reasons. I feel like for some of you, numerology is very, very big, and to really bring those numbers in. I do feel like by the 29th of June, we're going to be seeing some really big changes happening. It's like everyone comes up for air, but today is the 24th, and today is the 24th is when this shift is happening, and it's going to travel through 25th, 26th, 27th, like I think you're really going to see an upswing, but we're not going to really see the upswing until probably July. I think there's going to be just a lot of action, a lot of free will choice that is going to be playing out when the choices maybe should be a little bit different or a little bit different. And I'm like, there's just this swing of energy, but July, I feel like we'll be able to start to be able to breathe through. Now, if you don't take the world personally, turn off the news, turn off everything, and live in your bliss, live in that sense of, what's in my control? Where can I be a change? Where will it matter? Because a million people screaming is not where the change happens sometimes. It's in knowing that we can really, truly be the change that we need to be by being the change in us first. And so there is a lot of things that are at play. So we're just being told that, we may not see it all happening in June, but we will see something play out, and recognizing when your ego is speaking for you and your higher self is speaking for you. So we have the illusionist, and this is the paradox. And so, she's in reverse. She kind of looks like the Hangman card a little bit, but she's designed this way, not that way. So it's like she's doing the handstands, unique, her authentic self. But what is that authentic self? So when you're being the rebel and you're trying to, I'm going to be this, and I dress this way, and, because I want to stand out and I want to be that unique, and I don't want to be, the fighting against the authority, against that self. And it's like, F you, and this is how I'm going to be. But then when you look around, all you've done was, you may look different from the people who were in your first circle. Then you just created an identity, and you found another whole group that looked just like your new identity, that then also fight the same cause, right? Get in those mind stories and those thoughts, and you become that whole like rebel to a cause of identity. With identity, we're speaking identity, and with that self. And so it's like, who are you fooling? Are you really getting to the people that you want to get to because you now are against the norm? Or are you really harming you more than you're harming anyone else? Is it causing you a disturbance, a disruption, a angst within yourself to stay in that lower vibrating energy because you are reacting and responding from that emotional self? So having a good look at that and noticing that. So, when she's coming forth and so her mouth, everything has a change of color here. So purple. So when we align her throat chakra is probably all the way over here. And so when she looks with her third eye, and she gets from the thoughts to her heart, and she allows that sense of our God will to communicate through the message for her, she knows that it will come from a place that is of the highest good. And that is so important. It's not about going and not having a voice. It's about having a voice that will actually be heard and actually be listened to. So I hope in some way that this helps you this month or this weekend. Somehow, this resonates with you, and that it's and that we do open our hearts and minds and really truly look, read, explore, get to know something more, go silent and listen to your own higher consciousness, listen to your soul speaking to you, listen to the guardians, the angels that are speaking truth, and probably guiding us in a whole different way than we thought we should go. Much love, and you can check out much more of my work on CorrieThorne.com. My other YouTube channel, which is She Is More Than Existing, and that is all podcast. That's my podcast station. News for the Soul Radio, I also am on there every third Friday of the month, and so there is a lot of the archived station of my shows that you can watch. Go in and listen to those. I'm also on Unified TV. I'm a presenter teacher on there, and I have 2 series that are now available on Unified TV. If you're not a member of Unified TV, you can go sign up. It's a premium to sign, but you get a whole lot with it. It is a whole library of information, courses and classes, and shared. There's a whole category of free in there as well. that is just like available, accessible to anyone who just buys into the smaller amount. And it's 2 tiers to enter. One is the basic, and then the other one's the premium. And that's unified TV. And the reason why there's a charge is because this was a new platform that was being built and established, and it was built from nothing into something of where you were allowed to have a voice. And so I'm honored to be a part of that as well. So you can go check out my work there and many others. And yeah, I'm More Than Existing Academy. So all of my teachings, everything is in mteacademy.ca. Also, my second book is released in the downloadable copy. It is My Truth of Reflecting, My Truth of Existing Beyond the Reflection. And that book is a tongue twister. And that book is also available in downloadable copy on Amazon. It will be available very, very shortly to purchase the book on Amazon. And then we will be heading out with the book as well. First book is More Than Existing. Second book is My Truth of Existing Beyond the Reflection. And it is now available in a downloadable copy. Have a beautiful weekend. Much, much love. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.